Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. So we're going to start the meetup with a short Kirtan. I sent through. I don't know if you saw the mantras that we'll do, but the normal temple mantras that we do. So if you'd like to join in with me, that would be really, really good. If not, just follow on in your own way. Nama Om Vishnu Pradaya Krishna Pradaya Bhutale Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Sunyavadi Prasastari Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shiva Dvaita Saladhara Siva Sati Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Aveda Gadahara Shiva Sati Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Aveda Gadahara Shiva Sati Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Jaya Radhe Sham, Jaya Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Jaya Radhe Sham, Jai Gauranitai, 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 Jai Gauranitai, Jai Gauranitai, Jai Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jai Gauranitai, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, everyone. So, welcome to our first meetup of the Kṛṣṇa Prem 30-day challenge. I met each of you for a brief association where I gave an outline as to what is going to be included in the challenge. And the whole objective is for you to start to build up a close relationship with the Lord, this love relationship. And what I introduced to you at the time of meeting with you is Jap, the Maha-mantra. So what I'd like to do is spend a few minutes with you just going through technique. So has everyone got your malas with you? Could you just let me know? Janiksh Mataji? Ishan Prabhu?
Yeah.
You got yours? Okay, let me just grab mine. Just realised mine's not in front of me. Okay, so would you mind for whilst we do the jap to open up your videos so that I can see you doing the jap, so I can just see what your technique is like at the moment. Adash Prabhu, are you there?
I haven't started Mala.
Sorry, Ishan?
I haven't started
the jap.
I mean,
that's absolutely. Don't worry, it's absolutely fine. Don't worry, it's quite normal. People walk away from an association with great intentions, but sometimes we need to find a way to integrate it into our life. So I just want to give a little bit of guidance. So is it okay for both of you just to switch your videos on so we can just do the jap together?
Today I'm not well. So
That's fine. Don't worry. Okay. Well, look, I will show you what I'm doing, and then you get an idea of what it should be, just as a reminder. Let me just adjust my video. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So, firstly, holding the mala with the middle finger and our thumb, and our pointy finger is pulled away. We start with the Ek Manka, which is the one after the Krishna mala manka. So the easiest way to do it is actually just to fold it on your hand like this, and then you grab it. Okay. So what we'll do is we will go and do 1 round. So we always start the Maha-mantra with the Jai Shri Krishna mantra. So the Jai Shri Krishna mantra is, did you see the post I sent with the mantras? Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shivela Gadahara, Shiva Sadi, Gaur Bhaktivedanta. And the reason why we say this mantra is we get mercy from Lord Chaitanya. He's the most merciful of mercifuls for us fallen souls. So when we do make mistakes or offences inadvertently, then we'll get his mercy, and it's beautiful. So we say that first of all, and then we go straight into the Maha-mantra. So with the Maha-mantra, we'll go together. We won't do repeating, we'll actually do it at the same time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Okay. How was that for you, Mataji? Can you hear me, Mataji? I think you're muted. Yes, there you are. Hello.
Just a minute.
How did it feel for you?
Am I audible now? Yeah, it went well. Yeah, it was good.
Okay. So, by us chanting slightly aloud actually enabled you to have a little bit more focus. Generally, jap is done quietly, but when you're doing it on your own, for instance, there's no reason why you can't do it aloud. Some people do it aloud anyway, but it just gives you the extra focus on hearing it, if that makes sense. And therefore, you can be more accurate. That took us 8 minutes to do one round. So, as I hopefully mentioned to you when I met with you, that if you try to find a way of doing it first thing in the morning when you wake up, is a good way to start your day. Did we discuss that?
Yes, yeah, we discussed, yeah.
Acha. Good. So, all you have to do is wash your hands, wash your feet, rinse your mouth, and do one round. And only 8 minutes, but it starts your day off with a nice meditative way. It also starts your day off with a charged 108 Kṛṣṇa Prem. And that's a beautiful, beautiful way to start the day. Now, the technique is something that will develop. Yes, sometimes we will get distracted. Sometimes we need more focus. But it doesn't matter. Your target is just to try to get through the first round. Even if you only do half a round, is more than none. And once you can do half a round for a couple of times, then move up to one round. And when you can do one round for a couple of times, then maybe move up to 2 rounds, depending on your time. But the other way that we can bring it into our day-to-day life is when our mind gets very busy. As I'm sure I probably talked to you about my day getting into our head, sometimes we get very distracted in our day. You're a student or you work?
I go to work.
You go to work. And what type of work do you do?
Around 8:30 to 9.
No, what type of work?
Okay. I'm a software developer.
Okay. Will you work in an office environment?
Yeah, sorry?
You work in an office?
Yeah.
Okay. No,
but mostly work from home.
Okay. So, sometimes when you're working, your mind gets distracted, you can't focus, you're challenged, something's a bit difficult. Sometimes your mind is just chatting. And it's those moments in time where it's good to stop your work because it's not productive time. And you don't have the clarity of what you're doing. So sometimes when any of those situations develop, stop your work for 8 minutes, for 8 minutes, and do one round. And the benefits you'll start to see because you'll then start to get more focus. And therefore you will get more effective with what you're trying to do, more productive with what you're trying to do. And what will happen is the challenges will start to disappear because not only are you meditating, but you're actually having a conversation with the Lord. And when you have a conversation with the Lord, and he knows that you love him by chanting his name, all he wants to do is just try to help you and guide you. And that's beautiful. And that's part of the Kṛṣṇa Prem. He just wants to look after you like all other devotees who have a love relationship with him. So with all these challenges of the Maya mind, Lord Kṛṣṇa is the one who will actually help you with the Maha-mantra. How's that sound? Mataji?
Yeah. Yes.
Yep. Okay. All right. So you've got the Jai Shri Krishna mantra to do at the beginning, yes?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good. Now, so tell me, did you have a specific question that you wanted to raise for tonight?
Um, no, no such question for today.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. So let me just ask a leading question then. What would you say is one of your challenges in your life?
Currently, I don't have any challenge, but most of I don't have real challenges. But what I think is the most challenging part is when I struggle with my mind itself.
In what aspect of your
Uh,
mind?
like if I think about future and like I generally overthink a lot.
You overthink. So you're worried about
Yeah.
the future, or you're unsure about the future, or
Sorry.
you're worried about the future, or you're unsure about the future. Or what? Which?
Yeah, I mostly am like worried about the future.
Okay. So Lord Krishna teaches us that we spend a lot of time thinking about what we should be doing, and whether we're going to achieve what we want to do, and then we worry about whether we're going to do it or not, or how difficult or challenging it is. But when we start to develop our Krishna consciousness and start getting deeper into our chanting and our reading, then we start to realize actually we don't need to worry about it, because we start to have realizations that we're not in control of our future. You see, Lord Krishna, he's the supreme controller, he's the arranger, he's going to arrange everything for you. He's already got your whole life planned out already. So what we actually need to do is just focus on the here and now, this moment in time. And that's
Yes, yes,
beautiful, because if we start to focus on what we're doing now, then we actually get to appreciate what we've got rather than wanting something more or different or worry about what we would like for the future. And what's happening is we're actually missing these moments, because the more time we spend away from this moment, the more we're distracted and the more we don't actually get to appreciate it or enjoy it. The other thing is sometimes we worry because we don't have enough faith. We don't have enough belief. And the part of the reason is because of society. The type of society we live in now, we don't know what to believe or who to trust. Just
yes,
go out on the streets, go to your co-workers, go to talk to people outside. Can you really trust people? No. Can we trust the politicians? No. Can we trust what's in the newspaper? No. Can we trust what we see on Google or Facebook or Instagram or anywhere else? No, we don't know the source of that information, and we don't know how valid it is. So we lost a lot of trust and faith. And because we lost the trust and faith, this is why we worry. But if we develop our Krishna consciousness by chanting the Lord's name, thinking about him, reading about him, talking about him, listening about him, then what happens is we start to change our character, or he starts to change our character, and we start to have that faith and the belief that actually Lord Krishna, he's the one who's organising everything in our life. Now, if he's organising everything in our life, then we don't have anything to worry about, because everything's taken care for. Our whole life is planned out. All our past, all our present, and all our future.
yes, yes.
So, if everything is planned out for us, it's like, for instance, okay, are you a contractor or you're employed in your work?
I'm employed.
You're employed. Okay. So, you as an employee, you go to your office, you work certain hours a day, and when you leave at whatever time that may, let's just say you finish at 6 o'clock, you just walk out the door and you get on with your evening and get on with your home life. Yes?
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
you're fortunate to be able to do that because you're just the employee. Now, the employer, your big boss and other senior management below you, they can't do that. They can't just separate themselves from their work because they've got responsibilities. So they look after you and they look after the business to make sure everyone gets to do what they need to do in order to fulfill your project or whatever contract you're working on. So you have this, in one regard, a very fortunate situation is everyone's looking after your needs to make sure that you can do your job. Well, in the same way, Lord Kṛṣṇa is looking after you. And just like you have to trust your boss and your managers above you, that they know what they're doing and what the instructions they give you is correct, you have to have that element of trust, yes?
Yeah.
This is the same thing with the Lord. If we start to realize how much he is arranging, how much he's given us already. I mean, let's put it this way. You come from a past life. You believe in past lives?
Sorry?
You believe in past lives?
Yeah, I believe.
Good.
Yeah.
So from our past lives, we have our karma. And our karma is one aspect that determines what happens in this life that we're in now. So we have the karma from our past life, the karma from this life, but we also have our desires from our last life, which is why Lord Kṛṣṇa has created a new life for you in this new body, in a specific family, in a particular lifestyle, with a particular education, with a particular work life, and around particular people in your life. And every aspect that's going on in your life has been planned and put there for a specific reason. There's no chance, no accidents or mistakes. This is all planned out. Everyone and everything is individual lessons. Okay? So just like when you wanted to become a software engineer, you had to study. You couldn't just do basic code. I remember when in the days of when I first came across computers was when they first came out, I used to type BBC Basic. All right, but I know that with that knowledge, I can't be a software engineer. You have to study hard and hard and hard, and also things change because nothing is static. The software changes, the hardware changes, and all of a sudden you're having to restudy and learn more and learn more. Well, this is about life as well. This is about your life. Krishna has given us an opportunity to have this life. Now, he's given you certain skills. So, for instance, you are a software engineer, and the likelihood is that you had certain skills from your previous life that you brought with you, which is why this is your skill that you're in. You might have other skills in your life as well, whether it's art or music or whatever it may be. And there are certain things that you're very strong at, and there are certain things that you're very weak at. The things that you're weak at are things that are probably new to you and you haven't taken to. But the things that you're strong at, like software engineer and other aspects in your life, are things that you brought with you in your past life. And therefore, we are on this continuous learning curve from our past life of what we learned then, and now we're taking it onto new levels. So everything is a lesson. Similarly, the type of family that you're born into, your parents, your brothers or sisters or cousins, uncles, whoever, they're all there serving a purpose. So sometimes, for instance, we don't like certain things that happen in our family life or in our friendships as well, that we're not sure about, whether people say things to us that we don't necessarily like, or guide us in a way that we don't necessarily like, or don't necessarily approve of us in a certain way. But it doesn't really matter, because those things that people are raising for you are things that give you an opportunity to become a better version of ourselves. So, for instance, if someone says to you, criticized you in a certain way for doing something, it isn't your problem. It's their problem. If they've got a critique, if they can't tolerate what you're doing or don't find acceptance with you. But it's your lesson as well. So this is a double-sided lesson. They've got their lessons for saying what they say, and you've got the lessons about what is happening and why you feel a certain way towards them or towards certain things. And this is other reasons why we don't have the faith, because there's other people around us who are commenting or criticizing or us in certain ways. But what we have to learn, and this is what happens when we start to focus more on the Maha-mantra, we read, we listen, we talk about Lord Kṛṣṇa, all of a sudden this purification that takes place, which is this cleansing of our mind. And so all of a sudden we start to think slightly differently. we have to tolerate certain things in a certain way. I'll give you an example. I don't know if I mentioned it to you when I met with you. When I moved into the ashram, I was given a room to live in, and in that room I was living with one particular. There's two other Prabhus, and one particular Prabhu who was very, very untidy. He was very moochy. I didn't like it. I found it difficult, but I thought, okay, I'll try and tidy, keep the room tidy. He wasn't doing anything at all. I reported it to my authorities. They didn't take any action. Anyway, after a while, I had to move rooms for a different reason, and I moved rooms. I then moved to another room, and the same thing happened again. I was put into a room with another Prabhu, but this Prabhu, he wanted like servants around it. He wanted to pay everyone to do everything for him. And I'm still finding this is intolerant. This is unacceptable. I just want to keep a clean room, and why can't everyone else keep a clean room? I had this thing in my mind.
Yes.
And it carried on. And then I had to move room again, but again for a different reason. And I moved into this third room, and I've then come into this room with this Prabhu, and everything he's got in the room is out at the same time. Everything's just chaotic. Everything's chaotic. And I'm thinking, hold on. There's a lesson here, and I'm not learning it. What's going on? And I started to realise, okay, I've got to take a different viewpoint here. You see, I needed to separate this room. So I started to live in my side of the room, in my forest, and allowed him to live in his forest on the other side of the room. And the reason why I did this was I needed to step back and accept him for who he was and how he thought he wants to live and how he thinks it's the right way to live, and respect him for that, because he's still a lovely Prabhu. And I started to deal with things differently. I stopped taking offence. I became more tolerant, and I had more acceptance. And then all of a sudden I had to move to a fourth room, again for a different reason, and now I'm with two Prabhus who keep a very clean room. And it's beautiful. But it took me nearly 2.5 years of lessons. But this was the most massive lesson because, number one, I expected him to think in a certain way that I approve of. Number two, I wanted him to do something for me, for his own benefit as well. Number three, I had to learn about tolerance. I had to learn about acceptance, to accept someone for who they are. Just because they think differently and do things differently or behave differently, it doesn't make them a bad person or a wrong person. But what is my lesson is I shouldn't have expectations of anyone else. So I become more tolerant and more acceptable. And then I start to be able to realize that I can live here now, more in the moment, about experiencing what I'm doing in the moment, rather than thinking about what I'm not happy with or fears or worries. And going back to what you were saying before, is because you don't have that same faith and trust at the moment, because society has changed so much that we've lost that faith and trust, you don't have that faith and trust of what's going to happen in the future. Now, I trusted Lord Kṛṣṇa to take care of me. I had that feeling of that love relationship where I knew that that I just have to express my love, and I know that he just looks after me, and he did. He took me through all these lessons, big lessons. Multiple lessons all in one experience. And now I just have this feeling of just letting go, surrendering. Sorry, we've lost electricity here, so I'm sorry it's gone a bit black for a moment. But I don't have that same fear and worries about what's going to happen next. It enables me to realise that Lord Kṛṣṇa, the Divine One, the one who just loves and loves his devotees, he just wants to look after us. And that's very, 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 very beautiful. And when we know he looks after us, I don't need to worry about my future. People say to me, back to Michael, when are you going to go back to your home country? Or when are you going to go here or there? And I don't. But Krishna knows. And therefore I don't bother my mind with it. I don't worry about my future. I don't need to. Because Lord Krishna's planned and arranged everything. And the more faith, the more belief you have, the more you can be aligned with who you are and what you're meant to be doing. And that helps us to realise our purpose in life is a love relationship with the Lord. And we do that by just chanting his name, reading his name, talking about him, listening about him. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Acha. So, how does that sound?
It sounds amazing. Yeah.
It's amazing, but I'm nothing special. I'm just this small little humbling servant of the Lord. And what's amazing is how he looks after each of us. And all we've got to do to start off is just get into the routine every morning when you wake up, just chant his name. And every moment in the day when your mind gets distracted from your work or other tasks that you're doing, go back to the Maha-mantra, 8 minutes, and you've done another round and another round. And then all you have to do is just keep that focus. And some days you'll get distracted and you may not feel you've done as much as you would like to. And other days you'll find it flows more easily. Don't be hard on yourself. But the starting point is just to get that first round every morning. Get the first round in and you'll be quite surprised.
Yes.
Do you have any further questions about that question or comments?
No. Not for today. Maybe if something comes up, I'll post in the group.
Okay, lovely. Okay, now we had a couple of questions put forward by Vijeta Mataji, who wasn't able to join the group call today. Let me just have a look at the two questions. First question was, what are the qualities of an ideal devotee of Krishna? And the second question was, how does one develop a Krishna conscious mindset even while working in a materialistic environment? So I think we'll start with the second question. How does one develop a Krishna conscious mindset even while working in a materialistic environment? The reason why I think we'll deal with that, because you work in a certain environment where not everyone is spiritualized, not everyone is aware of Lord Kṛṣṇa, but somehow or other you need to see if there's a way that you can actually find a way to spiritualize what you do in the material world. It's like, for instance, I have a phone. My phone is a material object, but for me it's not a material object, it's a spiritual object. And the reason why it's a spiritual object is what I do with my phone. I'm not the type of person anymore, although I used to go on Facebook and Instagram. I don't use it for those purposes at all. The only things I use the phone for is on Google to look up information about Krishna. I go on YouTube to listen or watch things about Lord Kṛṣṇa. I go on WhatsApp just to speak to other devotees here at the Mandir. And I just keep it for those purposes. I speak to my mother and one of my daughters, but that's about it on WhatsApp. So this is how we can actually spiritualize what we have, rather than just treat them as material. Sometimes people think that, okay, this is the spiritual part of my life and this is the material part of my life. But there are ways that we can actually incorporate the two together. You see, when we start to realize that Lord Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Controller, he is the arranger of everything in our life, then we can start to appreciate what he's given us. So, for instance, in your work environment, he's the one who was able to give you this job. And not only this job, but a specific job with a particular company, with specific tasks and skills, and around specific people. All of them come with lessons. So, even if we might be sitting at a computer, maybe we're sitting on the phone all day long, maybe we're typing, whatever we're doing, whatever task of work that we're doing, if we start to appreciate in our minds that Krishna's arranged it, Krishna's given me this, then we start to actually get to enjoy what we're doing more, rather than thinking about what else we should be doing, because actually this is what Lord Kṛṣṇa has arranged for me, and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Then we start to focus more on spiritualizing our life and our work life. Not everything is about just being materialistic. I mean, say for instance, you've got a certain skill. You're a software engineer, for instance. So, being a software engineer, you do your work because you're paid to do it. You wouldn't do it if you're not paid to do it. But you have good skills. Now, living in the material world, you obviously need to earn an income, and therefore you need to do a job. So, what you can do in addition to your paid work is to allocate a few hours every week and maybe do something for charity using your skills. You can go to a mandir, go to one of the ISKCON mandirs. You can go to an NGO or another charity and offer your skills from your heart. No Lakshmi at all from your heart. And when you start to give things from your heart, you become more selfless, because living in the material world that we are living in, we are very selfish. You see, when you're at your work, we're told to be competitive. You had to compete to get your qualification. You had to compete to get your job. You have to compete to hold onto your job. And if you're incentive-driven job, then you have to compete against all your colleagues. Then you have to compete to get customers. Everything's a competition. But the moment we start to realize, okay, there is more to me than just my job. I'll do some charity work, which is a selfless act, rather than being on this selfish side of things. I can also start to realize, actually, what I'm doing is serving a purpose. And by being grateful and appreciative of what Lord Kṛṣṇa has arranged for us and the lessons that I can learn in this environment, then I start to discover that I can have a spiritual mind even in a material work environment. It's not about disengaging totally. Of course, you can come and do some seva in the mandir anytime, or any of the mandirs around India or the world, and do some seva. It's beautiful if you're able to do that, depending on your commitments that you have. Lord Kṛṣṇa would love you to come and serve him in such a way. You can do gardening, you can do making garlands, you can do cleaning, you can do cooking. This looking in after the Goshala and the cows and the oxen. There's so many different things you can do. But for most people, they still need to stay in the material world because you've got a home to support or a family support. And Lord Kṛṣṇa understands that. But if we can just try to realize that the people I'm with are the lessons I need to learn, because obviously sometimes when we work in an environment, there are people that we don't necessarily agree with, or they don't agree with who we are, what we believe, or what we say, or what they say, or what they do, or what we do. But just like I had to learn with the scenario of what happened with living in the ashram here, well, those are the same lessons that you can learn. Can you have acceptance for everyone in your company for who they are and what they do and how they do it? Can you tolerate things? Or are we just going to complain and complain and complain and complain? Or want something different or something more? But again, with Lord Kṛṣṇa, he teaches us, and this happens through the process of chanting the Maha-mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And by chanting his name, by listening to his name, by talking about him, by thinking about him, by feeling him, remembering his pastimes, all of a sudden you're taken through this processing of purification. It's so transformative. I can only tell you by my experience, but my experience is my experience. It's different to what you will experience and what you need to go through. But the one thing for sure is, everything that's happening in your work environment is there for a reason. Every task, every experience, every moment, whether it's happiness, sadness, anger, bitterness, frustration, challenge or not, is there for that reason of a lesson. But with life, Just for example, if you're at college or university, if you don't graduate from your course, then you have to restudy again and take your exams again and again and again. And it's no different in our life learning lessons. We have to study. Lord Kṛṣṇa gave us the opportunity in our past lives to go through these lessons. But we didn't have that focus. When we didn't have that focus, we didn't actually graduate. And this is why we keep on coming back through this cycle of birth and death, birth and death, birth and death, pain and suffering, old age, disease, illness, etc. And we can't, it's like a scratch record. We can't get away from it. But the moment we make Lord Kṛṣṇa the centre of our lives, which includes not only what we allocate for our spiritual life in our day or our week or a month, but how we can spiritualize our work environment, how we can spiritualize our family environment, how we can spiritualize our friend environment, how we can spiritualize our social environments, how we can take good association and be around people who are like-minded, who have good habits. Because what we attract around us is all about attraction. If you've got goodness around you, you'll attract good people. And the same thing, if we're around people who think not so nice things, talk not so nice things, not go to nice places, or even just being on your phone, there's so many things that we shouldn't be looking at that we do end up looking at. And they're just a distraction away from being clean, less contaminated, to become more purified. And that's beautiful. So going back to the original question that Masterji raised, there are so many different ways that we can materialize our work life. And the starting point is to take some breaks in your day from your work, 8 minutes at a time, to incorporate a little bit of the Maha-mantra. It's like everyone in the past, they've always taken tea breaks or cigarette breaks or go out to get some fresh air. But if you can just take 8 minutes in your day, find somewhere in your office or go out and get some fresh air, find somewhere quiet and just find a little bit of time for yourself. And what will happen is you will start to not only spiritualize your work, but you'll become far more productive, more efficient. You'll also start to enjoy your job far more and the work environment. You'll have better association with your colleagues because the more tolerant and more acceptance we have, the less jealousy, less greed, the less envy that we have. Then we start to actually get a much better, more wholesome work life. So I hope that's answered your question, Masterji. But please, after you watch the recording, feel free to comment and post any further questions about this. So I thank you all for coming today for this first meetup. What I'll do is, not everyone was able to come, so what I would like to probably do is I'll put a post out just to do a little bit of a survey to establish if there's a more suitable time that more people can come. Otherwise, what I'll be doing is each week I'll be publishing a video. I hope to publish this video, at the worst an audio recording of the meetup, so you can catch up in your own time. So, to finish up, Kṛṣṇa Prem challenge and the community that I'm developing is at the mercy of Lord Kṛṣṇa and Srila Prabhupada, our founder, Acharya. I hope in time, as you become more focused on your spiritualizing your life, that you will similarly develop a deeper love relationship with the Lord. And with it will come that faith and that belief and that trust, and how we can spiritualize our lives generally, but still, where necessary, stay living in the material world. And it's very, 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 very beautiful. It doesn't mean you won't have challenges. Of course you're going to have challenges. If we didn't have challenges in life, life would be very mundane. We wouldn't get anywhere. We wouldn't achieve anything. We wouldn't make any progress with ourselves. So Lord Kṛṣṇa, he intentionally sends Maya Devi to us to distract us, to see how far we can be distracted. Similarly, he gives us challenges, because without challenges, we can't learn. But if we gain that trust and that belief. So let me just give you this example. Your body is a car. Lord Kṛṣṇa is the driver. He's an experienced driver. He knows every route and every map. And you're the passenger. Now, Lord Kṛṣṇa is taking you on this journey. He's got it all planned. But like most passengers, we sometimes think we know something different to the driver. Oh, why don't we go this way? I know a shortcut. I know this shortcut here and there. And sometimes these shortcuts take us off our path. Our path that came from when we had... Our path that we had from our past and our past and our past lives. And Lord Kṛṣṇa is just giving us this continuum. Now, if we just allow Lord Kṛṣṇa to take us along the journey that we're meant to be going on, then we will get eventually the opportunity to go back to Godhead. But if we come off the path, as I was using the example of him and you're in this car and he's driving the car, then what happens is we take a turning and sometimes we hit a bumpy road. And those are like the bumps in our lives. And then all of a sudden we get these hills. The hills we've got to climb up and down. And these are the hills and challenges in our life that we have. Sometimes we get lost. Again, we get lost in our lives. And sometimes we hit a wall. And similarly, this is what happens in our life. But the more we start chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, the more faith and the belief that we will have. And then we will start to be less worried about our future, what's going to happen next. And we get to value, appreciate, enjoy what is happening at this moment in time by Lord Kṛṣṇa's arrangement. And it's beautiful. And all of a sudden, life becomes a little bit more simple. And the simpler we make our lives, the easier things become. So, thank you very much for your questions. Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to our next meetup. As I say, I'll probably do a survey just to establish if there's a better time. Otherwise, we'll continue as planned on Monday evenings. And thank you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.